So, we live in a world where we have more data than we have ever had before. I mean, we are drowning in data. And I just want to ask, how important is it to take that hard data and the tests and the things that you're talking about, but balance it with the conversations that you're having with customers, the conversations you're having with prospects, the things that are going on in the industry and the conferences and the experts and the analysts? I mean, that's a whole new level of information that is constantly being updated, constantly changing. How important is it to balance the data, but just with what's going on in the industry too, This volatility. When I said research, I was almost just thinking about we just need to be really good students of our markets, our customers, our prospects, and how they're thinking and what they're doing at a level that we have never had before. Because when you started, it was all about product and price. If we had the better product and we had the better price, we had a sales story and we could close deals. And it's just not that way anymore. So I'm just wondering, how has the amount of data, the amount of volatility, but then just the need to be in tune with the market changed? And how do salespeople, when you're talking to your 40 plus people on your team, how are you overseeing them and telling them how they have to be in touch with the market and up to speed with the market and how important that is?
Yeah, that's a good question. For sure, we work with lots of data because we collect data from lots of customers, lots of different countries. We also see what's going on the market. But at the same time, we have to understand that, okay, we have some data, but it's already like historical data. And for sure, it can be that we just don't have like one more piece of puzzle that has our customer. So it means that, for example, our customer can see the situation from the other perspective. So that's why it's always like a dialogue. So we always ask that, for example, you see, we have these historical data. That's why we give you these pieces of advice. We see that this way it will work better just for you. And for sure, we always open to hear what is the voice of customer, because it can be that, for example, because we work in job industry and it's very dynamic. It depends not only country by country, but also by job segment. And that's why for sure we don't know what's going on in some industries, in some countries where we have like not dozens of customers. And it can be that sometimes our customers can also be source of truth for us. And that's why we always open to hear the voice of our customers. It's super important. You have to understand that, okay, one customer tells us today that the situation is not as we thought is, taking into account our data. And it also means that we should be ready yet to change our approaches, to be open for the other points of view. And it's really highly important.
It's interesting. You talk about the voice of the customer. McKinsey came out with a study a couple of years ago, and they said less than 15% of respondents in their study said that they consistently incorporate customer input into their decisions. And less than 23% say that they regularly engage with their customers to ensure that their offerings deliver real value. And they call this the great disconnect.
Yeah, it can be for sure. It depends because we have customers with whom we work for years, like more than 7 years we work together. And sure thing, we understand that customers, they always have their goals. They would like to make everything like lots of optimizations to cut the costs, etc., and to get best performance ever from all vendors. And we also understand that sometimes, for sure, it can be that, for example, we have to work more than like advisors or as a guide, just to let our customers know that, you see, the situation looks like this. And we can't compare, for example, the situation that we have today with the situation we had 1 year ago. For example, if we're talking about prices, budgets, or something else, sometimes we even understand that customers also understand that. And here we go into discussions. Sometimes we just have to highlight that we see what's going on because we have lots of data. And that's why, for example, we can't go in some ways of like change some setup of campaigns, etc., etc. So it depends on the situation, on the customers, but anyway, for sure, we make like annual surveys. We ask our customers not only about how happy they are with performance, with our service, etc., but also about what do they think about the market, what are like the best players they see in our industry, because it's also important for us just to hear, to see from the other perspective, what do they see. And we also take into account like what type of customers gives us these or these answers, because it's also important, because some big customers can have the information about this segment, super small customers they have like information from other segments, and it also means like the truth is always somewhere in the middle.